There's really no other way of putting it, but Mercedes' journey into transitioning into this EV-only brand so far has been a brutal disaster. But there is hope on the horizon because they have learned from their mistakes, specifically with the EQS, which has just plummeted in sales. And honestly, to me, it's pretty easy or simple to see the reason why the EQS was not a success. It all has to do with the design, the bean-shaped design. I want to show you this video, first of all, from about, I do believe, a year ago, what Mercedes CEO said about the EV future of Mercedes, and also that I'm going to show you how much they have changed their direction since then. And now we're going to launch over 40 models in the next, I do believe, 2 years. And over half of them are going to be internal combustion engines because they need to bring that revenue in. So first of all, let's have a look at this video from about a year ago, what he says about the EV future of Mercedes.
And you've pared back your expectations in terms of EV sales. Is that again a question of the macro? We've obviously seen a slowdown in terms of growth of EV sales in Europe and the US. You're paring back your expectations in terms of deliveries, in terms of targets. Just underscore what is behind that.
I don't think anyone had ever thought that the once in a century transformation of the auto industry would be a straight line. There will be peaks and troughs and things like buildup of charging infrastructure and other enabling factors also will determine how the market develops. That is where it's a good position to be in, where your factories can build both.
But it also has to do specifically with a brand like Mercedes. It has a lot to do with the design. The design needs to be spot on. It needs to be Mercedes-Benz. And I don't think the EQ series was Mercedes enough. And I think that definitely affected the sales.
BEVs, but also high-tech electrified combustion vehicles. So we have that flexibility in our production system. But we're also readying a next generation of vehicles that will start coming in 2025, 2026 and forward. So a whole wave of second generation BEVs are coming from Mercedes in the next 2 to 3 years. So I see very good growth opportunities for BEVs ahead.
So that was about a year ago, 11 months ago. And now we can check out this article and see where Mercedes is at the moment. I just want to show you the new CLA, a video of that, which looks to me, even though it's heavily camouflaged, it still looks to be the same old bean shape, in a smaller package. I don't know what their, what their design changes are going to be, but here at least, it says from this article from CarScoop, and I'm going to link this down below. So let's check this out. So Mercedes to roll out 19 new internal combustion engine vehicles and 17 EV models that will ditch the egg shape by 2027. Bad EV sales performance has forced Mercedes to reinvest in traditional combustion powertrains and give all cars a look-alike design. So what they're going to do here is they're going to do like BMW, what BMW is doing with the 5 Series, the 4 Series as well. They're going to make cars that can be, they look the same, but they can be both internal combustion engine fitted or battery electric. So almost 40 new models over the next 2 years. Mercedes is going to be very, very busy here. Fun stuff for if you're working at Mercedes as a designer. Maybe you can, if you work at a designer at Mercedes right now, you have the opportunity to become a new Bruno Sacco, maybe, to create a brand new style for Mercedes after this disaster that is the word bean-shaped EVs. Mercedes will also have to cut costs by 10% by 2027, but they won't shut down the German plants, which is great. The automaker expects earnings to take a big hit in 2025 and thinks a renewed focus on traditional combustion power could help stop the slide. And I completely agree with that, obviously, and also a change in design direction. It wasn't long ago that Mercedes was vowing to go EV only in major markets by 2030, but terrible sales figures for many of its electric cars has prompted a major rethink. The brand isn't turning its back on EVs by any means. You still have, as I said, 17 of the new models, so the 40 new models going to be EVs that were launched by 2027. But 19s of the new cars will have combustion power and live on well into the 2030s. So they're definitely ditching this idea to be a EV only brand by 2030. That is obviously not going to happen if they want to stay alive. So even in the top end models that ride on entirely different platforms, and unlike smaller cars that will use a common architecture for both electric and combustion powertrains, I do think that is a great idea. It's also going to save a lot of cost. The egg-shaped EQS has been a sales bomb for Mercedes, and having learned from that mistake, future EVs will look like their gas brothers. Thank you, Mercedes, for learning your lesson when it comes to that specific EQS. So new products in showrooms this year include the CLA sedan, which will be available in EV and ICE forms. I'm going to show you a quick video of this design that we have right here.
Now, it's been about a year since you took me for that test drive up on the Schokol in the electric G. I missed out on Sweden, but Marie filled in.
CEO is Swedish too, by the way.
Now we're here with two camouflaged vehicles. Tell me what's going on today.
Well, it's great to be back testing some cars, and that G experience was fun, right?
It was very fun, yeah.
A little bit scary?
A little bit scary, yeah.
But we handle all situations.
You did.
So today we're in Immendingen, our test track, south of Stuttgart, and we're looking at this fantastic new CLA here, fully electric, next generation vehicle that...
Now, doesn't this look sort of egg-shaped to you? Maybe we do have a more clearly defined hood, but it still has this, I don't know, it still has this, soap bar design to it.
We're seeing an era of a whole generation of new vehicles from Mercedes. The engineers have been really smart here. They have developed a modular platform where we have also a brand new hybridized electrified combustion version of the car also coming.
Okay, sounds very promising.
That's gonna
Absolutely. Most intelligent car that we've ever made. Supercomputer on board, sensors everywhere, artificial intelligence-based software. It feels like this is the complete package.
All right, here we go.
Ola, one thing that really stuck out to me in the design concept was the headlights. Now, I know these are still camouflage, but can you give us a hint? What can we expect?
Absolutely. Design is super important to us. And of course, our designers, they love those little details. So when they look at the headlight, of course, the headlight has a function, but it's also a piece of art. It's like a jewelry on the car. So you have this sleek, sporty shape, but the headlights, especially at night, it's the first thing you see. It's just got to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect. Can I take a look?
Should we take a peek?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, may I?
You see the cues here to the Mercedes stars with those beautiful pieces of glass.
Oh, I love that. I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah.
But it's also high performance.
Easy to see the star.
A headlight is all about safety. At night, you want to be able to, in a very, very, very precise way, make sure that you see everything you need to see, but also not blind people that are coming in the other direction.
This is important.
So it's an intelligent headlight, not just light and not just beauty.
Doesn't just look cool, it also works. Well, I can't wait to put it to the test. Shall we take a spin?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's see how the inside looks like. Do they have the
Okay, where are we going?
I think we start with the electric one.
All right, let's do it. But you're driving, Ola.
Okay.
All right, safety first.
Safety first. Hey, Mercedes, how are you?
All the better for hearing your voice.
Hey, who is this?
So this is your Mercedes virtual assistant. It's like you have a butler in the car that is at your service and can answer questions and help you operate the car or any other question that you might have.
I have always wanted a butler.
Yeah, this is MBOS, Mercedes-Benz Operating System.
Okay.
All right.
In its full first version. So every digital feature that you can possibly think of, you'll probably find in this car. Small town about an hour south of Stuttgart.
Okay.
And this is the...
All right, I don't think we're going to see the interior, but I do believe it's probably going to have some sort of... It's called a hyperscreen, super screen, whatever it's called. I can't remember. They have so many different names from all these screens that we have today. But my guess would that we're still going to have that type of screen in the new CLA. But I think this is the 2026 CLA without that much camo. And you can see that I guess they reduced the bean shape a little bit. but it still has a very round, bubbly looking design here. So the company will soon also reveal a facelifted S-Class, and said engines with 4 to 8 cylinders will be available across the Mercedes range. Good news here is we're still having the V12 available for its flagship sedans, and I do believe that's going to be the Maybach sedans. And they're also working on a rival to the BMW i5, the E-Class. They're coming out with an E-Class EV to rival the i5. I wonder if that's going to look exactly like exactly the same as the EV with the internal combustion engine. Not sure there. So earnings at Mercedes-Benz car division dropped by 39% during a tough 2024, and they were expecting 2025 to be even more brutal. So it will move production of at least one model line from Germany to Hungary, where production is 70% less expensive. And here we can see this is probably maybe the new GLC or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think this star pattern in the front end in the headlights is going to be a feature that we're going to see in pretty much every single Mercedes moving forward from 2020, from today, from the E-Class and the new facelifted S-Class. But one of the big reasons why the EQS was such a massive disappointment, I drove the SUV about a year ago, and the comfort of these cars, the comfort of a fully electric Mercedes, even though it's a SUV, or whether it be the sedan here, absolutely phenomenal. It rides like you're on a cloud. Like seriously, one of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven by far. But when you look at the design, when you're driving a Mercedes, you want to make a sort of a statement, specifically when it comes to the S classes. And here, I don't think the regular S-Class buyers want to have a design that looks like this, completely anonymous, with one single, bubble basically being the design. Everything is rounded. We don't have any sort of definition. It feels like this has been out in the sun, sort of melted cheese design here. If you took this design and just put it out in the sun for too long, it's going to turn into this EQS up top. But we do have one single line here, of course, one sharp line at the lower section, but it doesn't really have a connection in the front or in the back, so it's just one line sitting right here. Now compare this to the regular S-Class, and just which one do you think is the more beautiful design? To me, it's very, very simple. I mean, we have the classic sedan, big luxury saloon proportions with this S-Class down here looking stunning. We have this line at the lower section as well, so a sharp shoulder line, and we have a clearly defined hood here. The hood does not, connect with the greenhouse in one single line like we have on the EQS. Instead, we sort of have a 3-box design here like we want to see in a big luxury sedan like this. One box right here for the trunk, one box for the greenhouse, and then we have one box for the front end right there. So that is, I think this has to do a lot with the lack of sales for the EQS, just the design in general and how lack of identity the EQS, both the sedan and the SUV, had in its original form. Now what they're gonna do now is gonna take the regular S-Class, they're gonna take this shape down here, and they're gonna use this as the next generation S-Class EV. I guess that's the idea going forward, and I do think that is going to be a huge improvement when it comes to the sales of these EVs, because as I said, when it comes to the driving experience, it's extremely comfortable. And I do in some way feel like luxury brands like Rolls-Royce with the Spectre and Mercedes with the S-Class, it sort of feels right that they should offer some variants of those in fully electric form, because it is such a relaxing driving experience.